I want this video to be a wake-up call, a warning for all of us. As we approach 50, as we're in our 50s, as we leave our 50s, we are running out of time. And many of us have lived our life saying, someday I'm going to do this, someday I'm going to do that. Well, we're running out of some days. And for many of us, someday is today. And that's really what I want to talk about. I recently turned 60. I've been a financial advisor for over 20 years. I've helped guide hundreds of people into retirement. And I am seeing it and I'm feeling it in my own body. And I work hard to stay as fit as I can. But there are things that in a few short years, unfortunately, I probably won't be able to do. For instance, I'm here in Guatemala on vacation. And I decided I wanted to do this volcano hike, Asa Tenago, cut that out. And I decided I wanted to do this, cut that out. And I decided I wanted to do this hike to see a volcano up close. And the volcano is called Fuego, but it's a bear of a hike. And I chose my guiding service well, and I had a lot of support, but I can tell, I was able to finish it. You'll see some clips in this video. I was able to finish it, but it just reminds me how little time we have left at 50, 55, 60 to do certain things. And then, you might have to say, you know what? I would love to do that volcano hike, but it's just too strenuous. I won't be able to do that. And when and if your time comes, I want you to look back and say, I took full advantage of the youth of my senior years. I took full advantage of the physical condition that I had and the ability to do things. And when I could do things, I did do things. And so one thing to think about, there's a great book written by Bill Perkins called Die with Zero. Now you wouldn't think Die with Zero would talk about doing things while you still can, but actually it spends a lot of time talking about that. And full disclosure, I was going to write a book very similar to what Die with Zero is, and Bill Perkins did such a great job. There's not a need for me to write a book on that. But one of the things Bill talks about is these life buckets, as opposed to a bucket list. These are life buckets. These are things that are important for us to do, and thinking about when is the right time for us to do that. So for instance, I learned to surf when I was 50, and I'm really, really glad I did. Because frankly, it takes a lot of flexibility when you're tossed off your board and you're tumbled and twisting and turning. It would be easy to pull a muscle, and I had more flexibility at 50 than I do now. And anyways, it was easier to learn at 50, and now at 60, I can enjoy doing that. And then this volcano tour, I didn't even think I might not be able to do this physically. This was the first event that I've gone on, and at some point we're all going to hit this milestone where you say, I kind of pushed the edge. And maybe next time I need to think, do I have the physical fitness needed for an activity like this? On this volcano hike, I was the oldest person on that hike by close to 2 decades. Now, my group was 33 people, but there were probably 1,000 to 2,000 people on this hike, either going up or going down. And I can tell you, I probably only passed 10 people that were my age or older. And it just got me thinking that it was just a reminder, frankly, it was a slap in the face saying, you know what, I won't always be able to do this. So I want you to think about, what are the things that you want to do? What are your some days I'm gonna? And if you're married, if you have a significant other in your life, the two of you go through it. My wife and I have done this and said, what are the things that we want to do? And at what age would it be hard to do that? And so then we put these in life buckets based on our age and said, okay, in our 50s, what are the things on our list that we should probably try to do in our 50s? In our 60s, what are the things that we should probably try to do in our 70s? I'll give you, for instance, I like to fly fish. I like to golf. I'm not very good at either, but I like to do both of those. But I'm not spending much time doing those right now because those are things I can do when I'm older. What I'm doing right now visiting foreign countries, doing what I like to call living like a local in a foreign country. That's what I like to do. I like to live like a local would, as close as possible. We can't do that, but find out what is it like to live here. For instance, I'm in this town called Antigua right now, which is a very popular town in Guatemala. And what is it like to live here and meet as many locals as I can. Frankly, it's hard to do that in Antigua because there's so many tourists, and the flavor of the town has been lost. But doing this takes a fair amount of mental acuity, because I like to do the trips without much planning and without doing it as a group. One of the things when you travel and you do it in a group is you're in a pod, and you're surrounded by the other people. Maybe, I'm from the United States, so if I did a tour, maybe there's 30 people in that group, and 25 of them are from the United States, and we go from one place to the next place to the next place together. And you lose the ability to connect with locals when you do that. So that's my thing. My question to you is, what is your thing? And what's holding you back from doing that thing? Now, oftentimes what's holding people back is, at our age, we start thinking about, I want to supercharge my savings. I want to start saving more, which can be a good thing, right? Everything in moderation. But it's also important that we get these life experiences that are important to us, because none of us know how long we have. And you know what? I'd rather have to tweak things in my 70s or 75 because maybe I spent a little too much money. Now, this isn't financial advice. I don't know your situation, but this is my situation. I'd rather tweak things later and be able to get those experiences that are really important to me, because I don't know how long I'm going to have. My father had a stroke in his mid-50s. I don't know if, I'm past my mid-50s, but could I have a stroke tomorrow? Could you have a stroke tomorrow? My chances are probably much higher than your chances. But this can all be taken away from me in much less time than any of us think that it can be taken away. Our health. In fact, according to the World Health Organization, the average American loses their health. They have a serious health diagnosis. They have a heart attack, they have a stroke, they get a cancer diagnosis, something like that. The average American loses their health and has a serious health condition at the age of 66.1 years old. That's just 13 months past when many of us were planning on retiring. I retired at 59, but I know a lot of people are thinking about 65. I was thinking about 65, and as I looked at my life buckets, and I said, okay, I have 168 hours in a week. Do I want to give 40, 50, 60 of those to my company? Or do I want all 168 hours a week for me? And ultimately, I decided I wanted them for me. So one of the things that's important is to think about the value of time. Now, here's another thing. Over half of all Americans do not take all the vacation that they're entitled to. So if that's you, I want you to stop doing that. I want you to start taking your vacation and enjoying that time. That's step number one. But also thinking through, what is stopping you from doing those some days I want to? What's stopping you from doing it? Is it because you don't have enough vacation time to do it? Is it because you don't want to spend the money now? Is it because maybe you're fearful of doing whatever it is, right? Some of these activities have some risk associated with what I just did this weekend. I was worried, I might get hurt. It would have been super easy for me to pull a muscle. And I'm very grateful for the group that gave me my tour of the mountain. They were very patient. So think about, what are the things that are holding you back, and then think about, do they need to be holding you back? And what can you do to overcome those and have the name of this volcano was Fuego, and have your Fuego experience. I want you to have as many of those moments that take your breath away, right? There's that quote, it's not how many breaths you take in your life, but it's how many breaths in your life you get how many activities you get in your life that take your breath away. I'm paraphrasing, but I think most of us have heard it. So that's it. At the end here, I'm going to share a couple clips from this volcano climb. And also, part 2 to this video is why waiting to 65 might be a big mistake. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.